up, you guys? Miss Prime here, doing another Dragon Ball Z figure review on the Bandai Tamashii Nation's SH Figuarts Final Form Frieza figure. This is actually my favorite villain from Dragon Ball Z, as I'm not too familiar with the show, but the Frieza saga, I really enjoyed watching that. That was pretty awesome. I also have the Perfect Cell figure, thanks to Chillville. Just want to show this off and say thanks again, bro. Have not forgotten about this figure. I will review it, and I will also read the book that you sent me, but I want to read the book first before I get to reviewing this guy over here. So for right now, we're jumping into the Frieza figure, which looks really cool. This figure is not available at Big Bad Toy Store anymore, but you can find your other DBZ figures there.
Big! Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
So pretty fancy packaging. I like the packaging to this thing. We have Frieza right over there. It's kind of funny, the final form is a smaller version of Frieza. I remember the form before this, he was like hella huge and yoked out. We got Dragon Ball Z written right down there. We got ages 15 and up. Then there's a picture of Frieza on the side. And then here's some poses and everything. Bing! The sound effects and everything. Simple style and heroic action. I love that stuff. And we have a little bio on Frieza over here. If you want to read about that, you can pause it now. Then here's the top of the packaging right there. It says Death Ball. Yeah, Final Form Frieza. But I'm excited for this figure. I'm really happy to have it. Let's get to it and crack this thing open. So here's Final Form Frieza out of the packaging. And man, this is an incredible figure. He has a lot of cool accessories, man. I really like this figure a lot of posing options. Great paint sculpt on the figure as well. I do have some gripes, a couple of little gripes. First off, he is very back heavy due to the tail and him being a very small figure, so it's kind of hard for him to stand, and then the paint applications get a little shaky. But aside from that, overall, just an incredible piece. Even the paint application thing, that's more my fault. I'll get into that later on, but let's try to get a 360 of this figure over here. Man, and I really like this light shading throughout the whole thing too. Very cool looking piece. Jeez. This is awesome. Anyway, let's get into all the accessories. We get this Final Form Frieza manual. It shows all the accessories that come with the figure. You can see the stand right there, and the little tail and all that stuff. And he also comes with your standard issue SH Figuarts flight stand. So you have some joints over here on this thing, and you have some extra pegs right there where you can plug this in right at the bottom right there. You can remove the clamp and then plug it into the death ball right over here at the end of this effect right here, which I'll show in greater detail in a moment. And then the clamp itself actually, closes right here with these two pieces. Comes with this charged death ball over here made out of this pink translucent plastic, which looks great. I like the sculpting around it. It's just a beautiful looking piece, and look how clear it is, when I have the light shining on it and I don't have my hand back there. That is awesome. I really like that, and you can have him pose with it. So it comes with this little plastic piece right here that has a clip that goes around his wrist. And to demonstrate how this goes around his wrist, there's a clip, there's the wrist, and it just goes around right here. You want to kind of get it on the ball peg. You want to avoid having it touch this purple section over here. As you can see, I have a little paint chipping right there. So the paint on the purple section is a little flimsy, I have to say, but overall, this looks really cool. We got Frieza foot for a second, but that's badass. Then we have the firing death ball over here, and this looks really cool. I like this effect a lot. I like this frosty kind of white that they have painted over here, and then it goes to a more translucent light pink color at the end. I think that's awesome. And then you still have the ball effect right there. This is pretty badass. And like I said, you can't have it on the stand, so it has this whole peg right there, and you can just plug it in like so, and then you can display this around. You can see pictures of this figure displayed with these effects at toynewseye.com. I'll have them up there. Rock! Yep, he comes with his own rock, which is pretty neat, so you can have him standing on this thing. There's these holes right here with the pegs sticking out. He has specially made feet that you could plant into there. I think that's pretty neat. You can see the footprints right there and right there. Really nice sculpted paint detail on this though. Look at the sculpting on this. I really like this a lot. I like the shading right here going to the dark brown. This is a very cool rock. I know it's just a rock, but man, it's a beautiful rock. And at the bottom over here, it's very flat, but you don't need any detail down there. And Frieza comes with two different tails. Actually, he has three different tails, but really it's just two. So here's the first tail over here. I think this is more of like his regular tail. Then you can just pop it off, and then you could plug this longer one in. And I guess this one's mostly made for choking out Vegeta. Actually, I wrapped this around Krillin, and it's very form-fitting to the neck of the other figure. I think that was really cool. So this is pretty nice that you can do that, this longer one right here. And then once he gets shot by a giant fireball, you can unplug this, and that just comes out like so. So now you have the cut-off tail over here. Not looking too bad. It's two tails, but really you have three different display options with the tail. And Frieza comes with three different sets of feet. I think this is awesome. These are the regular standing feet right over here. They have some really nice shading on them. I really like it. It's kind of hard to see, but there's shading like between the toes, and you have these little lines etched over there, and he has this really dark blue fingernail polish, which I think is kind of funny. They even have these sculpted lines and everything right there on the inside of the foot, and there's like an R and an L on the inside also right here. You see this is the L right there. I think that was cleverly placed because it's kind of hard to tell which side goes where. Even to me, I could tell that's the big toe though. And then this other set right here is for the rock. I'll show him standing on the rock with this, so this is where it plugs into. And then this third and final set of feet is just for him being in the air and whatnot, or you can have him putting his foot on someone's face. And then Frieza also comes with 3 sets of hands and then 2 different pointing hands for the right hand only. So we're going to get 3 left hands on this figure and 5 right hands for this figure. You have the fisted hands over there, the relaxed hands, and the open palms right over here. Really nice shading on all these hands. It's really cool. You can definitely see it clearly right there on the fists. And then right here, the difference between these 2 pointing figures is one is like pointing at Krillin's doom, I think right before he kills him. Then this one is for the death ball. And we also get these crossed arms, which I think is a great accessory. I'd first seen these on the Piccolo figure, which I don't have yet. Need to get a Piccolo, but I think this is incredible. This is a genius idea how they did this here. So what you do is you unplug the arms on Frieza right there. So there's one arm unplugged, the other one unplugged, and from here on it's pretty self-explanatory. You just plug the folded arms in here. That just looks really cool. I remember the first time I'd seen this, I was like, wait, how do you make the figure do that? How do you make the figure do that? It's sculpted like that, so this is really nice. Digging it. And finally, Frieza has 3 interchangeable heads, all looking pretty awesome. So here's the regular face right here. I always thought the look for this character was kind of funny. Kind of reminded me of a tranny or something like that. I guess it's the purple lipstick or something. But we have the holes right there on the side of his head. I guess those are his ears. I really like this metallic, shiny purple paint. Very nice looking. The only thing is it just feels a little fragile. So when you have this guy stored, like especially with these heads, I recommend putting them back in the packaging, as most collectors actually do anyway. But I like the little gray lines right there going on the sides of his cheeks. That looks really nice. Then this is the one when he just got hit with a giant fireball from space. Or was it Goku's like charged up Kamehameha? I don't remember. I haven't seen this thing in so long. But yeah, he's got the one busted eye right there. And then finally we have this really angry Frieza right here. Man, that's cool. They painted the inside of his mouth. I like how the eyes are painted on this. And you get some veins right there. Look at that. You get the vein on the side of his head. Then some more veins right here. That is cool. I really like that a lot. I really like the rest of the paint sculpt on this figure. I just think it looks great. It's kind of tricky to see because it's such a white figure and the paint shading is a very light gray, but they did a great job. It's just a beautiful looking piece. Again, with my one real complaint, I feel like the paint chips off on the purple section really easily, so you really have to avoid having the shoulder joint rub into this chest section or his collarbone area over there. That's kind of my fault because the figure is made so that it's so well articulated that you can avoid all kinds of rubbing like that. So that's my bad. You want to make sure you position it so that it's not touching, and I think I had this rubbing in here, so that kind of sucks. But overall, I mean, I really do like how the purple paint looks. It's like as you have more light shining into it, it gets brighter in the center where the light's hitting it. I think that's cool. Same thing with this torso section over here too. Again, I really like the paint applications on this. Very clean. I just think it looks great. Awesome looking figure. Then here's looking at the back of the figure too. Then there's a tail that we had seen earlier. And then there's this, it looks like a port for his back, but I don't really think that's for anything. I don't know what that's for. So like most SH Figuarts figures, the articulation on this is awesome. You can move his head up pretty far. Actually, not that much. Not as much as I thought. But he can look up, and you can also get him to move down. You kind of have to shift it around. But you can look down very far. You can rotate his head side to side, and he does have some neck pivot as well. There is a neck joint over here that's kind of tricky to use. I can't really move that around too much because he has such a big freaking head over here. He does have a ball and socket joint right there for the inside of his shoulders, so it's kind of like an armpit joint, moves forward and back, and you can rotate that piece up and down. He also has a hinge right up here, which you can move up and down like that, and you can rotate the arms forward. He has a bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows that bend in that far. He has wrists that move side to side, and you can move them side to side or up and down, whichever way you have this peg thing rotated. He also has a diaphragm joint over here, and this little panel thing is cleverly placed so that you can still rotate right over here. And as you crunch him forward, it kind of digs into his belt. So you still get a forward crunch on this, even though you have this little panel thing kind of blocking it a little bit. And you can get him bending backwards too. That doesn't look too bad. And you get a little bit of a diaphragm pivot right there, and it rotates side to side. Same thing with the waist joint. The waist joint moves side to side, crunches forward and back quite a bit, and it has some pivot to it also. You have this really cool thing right over here where the hips have their own hinge that move up and down, so you can move the legs up and down like that. You can rotate them outward as you move them down, so you get a lot more movement like that, and you can rotate them forward. You can swivel them right here at the top of the hip too, or at the thigh. You have double jointed knees that bend in very far, and you have ankles that move down, up. You can rotate the ankle side to side, and it also has the magnificent ankle pivot. And don't forget the tail. The tail rotates all the way around 360 degrees, and it also has a hinge moving it up and down to whichever way you turn it. And same thing with the other tail too, same articulation, except for this one has the added piece of articulation where you could swivel it right over here where it detaches. So this final form Frieza figure is short as he should be, and he stands less than 5 inches tall. I want to say 4.5 inches tall right there. And here he is next to his nemesis, Super Saiyan Goku. I didn't realize Goku was that much bigger than final form Frieza. And then here he is next to the SH Figuarts Krillin figure. So Frieza's even shorter than Krillin. And last but not least, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. So with my little gripes and all, I actually really love this figure. This is a fantastic piece. I am very, very happy with it. I only spent 45 bucks. For me, I think that's a pretty good deal. I haven't seen it around for cheaper than that, so I think I got a great deal on this. Really like the figure a lot. Comes with a ton of accessories. Fun factor is through the roof. I highly recommend it. I hope you guys liked my video. Please check out my photo gallery at toynewseye.com. With all these accessories, I spent a lot of time taking pictures, so please check that out. That way you can get a really good idea how all the accessories look applied to the figure and everything. And hit the like button if you like the video. Please leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you later. Peace.